Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth, and fancy seeing you here, and you are very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, grab a pew if you can find one. Let's talk about the DCEU then and now. Welcome to Tuesday's edition of the DCEU Daily. The main problem was with the DCEU of the past was studio interference. Studio interference ruined Batman v Superman, the theatrical cut. Studio interference ruined Suicide Squad. Both films had an extended cut. Then studio interference interfered with the Justice League movie with the removal of Zack Snyder. We all know that. There's no secret. It is not debatable. Kevin Sugihara was a major problem. So it all started with Man of Steel, and there was a mixed response to Man of Steel. But it wasn't the poisonous atmosphere of Batman v Superman. But people didn't like some elements of the film. People didn't like the fact, or the mainstream audience, let's say, didn't like the fact that Superman was a lot darker, even talking about the costume being dark. So the studio were a little bit nervous, and I think once they kind of saw the full cut of Batman v Superman, they were definitely nervous, and they interfered with that cut. So ultimately, the theatrical cut really did look like it was edited badly. And the same again with the Suicide Squad movie. But if you allow Batman v Superman, the original cut, and the Suicide Squad original cut to be released, there isn't the problems there. Maybe people still wouldn't have liked the films because of the tone and everything, but they stood a much better chance of a better response by the public and critics. Now, Wonder Woman didn't have this problem. Wonder Woman didn't have this problem because for some reason Patty Jenkins was able to fight off the hordes. Now, I do think that Jeff Johns has to take a lot of credit for making sure there wasn't studio interference, and Kevin Sugihara wanted to cut out the No Man's Land sequence, don't forget. So someone there. And I mean, it's amazing, really, that film turned out as good as it was with Sugihara involved. But once we get to Justice League again, we get this big problem. They were very nervous about what Snyder was doing. Snyder at SnyderCon admitted this a few weeks back as well. So again, no secret there. The problem is with the origins of the DCEU, like Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, Justice League. The franchise didn't really have one person running it. You had Jeff Johns, you had Zack Snyder, you had a few. Too many cooks spoiled the broth, and nobody really knew who was running the thing. So, and this is where you get studio interference. So what's happened now is, because of what happened after Justice League, they brought in Walter Hamada. Everybody knows who's in charge. He has a reputation. He's a very strong creative. He's a very strong leader. They don't interfere with what he's doing because they knew they had to listen to someone. Walter Hamada is a Warner Brothers man. He has experience with New Line Cinema, which is owned with Warner Brothers. They trust him to make the relevant decisions. And this is why you're seeing really good mainstream movies, but they can work for all the audience, really. Shazam is a perfect example of something that's very light and breezy and funny, but it also has its dark, compelling moments. It has the best of both worlds. It's the same with Aquaman. It's the same with Wonder Woman. We have 3 solo back-to-back movies that are not only really good films, but have been reviewed really well by critics and received well in the box office by the public too. So it really is a very exciting time moving forward. Whose fault was it that things were going wrong at the beginning of this franchise? As I said before, Kevin Sugihara. But now you have proper leadership. And for me, that is the big difference. And when you look at the future of this franchise now, when you look at something like the Joker movie, again, put together by Walter Hamada, it's a great idea. Nobody really knows, because nothing officially has come out, what this film means in terms of it continuing, creating a franchise of those movies, if they'll do more Bat Family movies. Nobody really knows what they're doing next. I think a lot of people would like to see a Lex Luthor movie. I'm assuming probably not played by Jesse Eisenberg, but nobody knows what the future holds. But I tell you what, we have a very exciting DCEU future ahead of us.